Born on October 31, 1887, in the small town of Shiko in Zhejiang province, Chiang Kai-shek emerged from humble beginnings into a world rife with turmoil and change, destined to become one of the most consequential figures in modern Chinese history. Raised by a widowed mother in a Confucian household after his father's death, Chiang developed a strict sense of discipline, national pride, and personal ambition early in life. He enrolled in military academies, first in Baoding and then in Japan, absorbing modern military tactics and revolutionary fervor, and soon joined the anti-Qing Tongmenghui movement under the influence of Sun Yat-sen. His formative years were marked by both intellectual development and martial training, creating a man deeply committed to the cause of Chinese nationalism and modernization. Returning to China after the 1911 revolution, Chiang gravitated toward Sun Yat-sen's Kuomintang, KMT, steadily rising through the ranks as both a loyal aide and a military leader. By the mid-1920s, he was entrusted with command of the Whampoa Military Academy, where he trained a new generation of nationalist officers, and in 1926, he launched the Northern Expedition to unify China under KMT rule, sweeping aside warlords and consolidating power. After Sun Yat-sen's death, Chiang became the undisputed leader of the KMT, but his rule quickly became authoritarian, marked by an uneasy alliance and eventual bloody conflict with the Chinese Communist Party. The Shanghai Massacre of 1927, where thousands of communists were killed under Chiang's orders, initiated decades of civil war and enmity between the KMT and the CCP. In the 1930s, as Chiang attempted to consolidate power, he faced growing Japanese aggression in Manchuria and later full-scale invasion in 1937. Though reluctant at first to focus on fighting Japan, the Xi'an incident in 1936, when he was kidnapped by his own generals, forced him into a united front with the Communists against the invading Imperial Japanese Army. Throughout the Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945, Chiang led a government in exile from Chongqing, enduring brutal Japanese bombing campaigns, territorial losses, and internal corruption. Despite receiving Allied support and presenting himself as a key leader in the fight against fascism at international conferences such as Cairo in 1943, his government remained fragmented, authoritarian, and plagued by inefficiency. Following Japan's defeat in 1945, the Chinese Civil War resumed with renewed intensity. Chiang's forces, though better equipped and backed by U.S. aid, were outmaneuvered and outmobilized by Mao Zedong's communist guerrillas. By 1949, the Communists had captured most of mainland China, and Chiang, refusing to surrender, fled with the remnants of his government and over 2 million refugees to the island of Taiwan, where he established the Republic of China in exile. From Taipei, Chiang ruled with an iron grip, instituting martial law under the White Terror regime, silencing opposition, and systematically building a centralized, militarized, and anti-communist state. While condemned by many for his authoritarianism, his leadership also laid the groundwork for Taiwan's economic growth and eventual democratization. Internationally, Chiang continued to claim legitimacy as the rightful ruler of all China and maintained diplomatic relations with Western powers during the Cold War as a staunch anti-communist ally. Despite being ousted from the United Nations in favor of the People's Republic of China in 1971, Chiang retained support from a loyal base of followers, particularly among older generations who remembered him as the last stand against communist domination. His personal life, meanwhile, was equally layered. His marriage to Sung Mei-ling, a Christian and educated daughter of a wealthy family, helped build bridges with the U.S. and gave his regime a modern, cosmopolitan veneer, though their union was often more political than romantic. In his later years, Chiang grew increasingly isolated, suffering from declining health while resisting reforms and clinging to his vision of one day retaking the mainland. On April 5, 1975, Chiang Kai-shek died in Taipei at the age of 87, leaving behind a complex and contested legacy. To some, he was a tyrant who ruled through fear and failed to deliver democratic governance. To others, he was a staunch patriot who fought valiantly to preserve Chinese sovereignty and laid the foundation for Taiwan's modern identity. His life mirrored the turbulence of a century of Chinese transformation, an era defined by imperial collapse, warlord chaos, ideological battles, and the struggle between dictatorship and democracy. Though never achieving his dream of returning to Beijing, Chiang remains a monumental figure whose decisions altered the trajectory of not only China and Taiwan but the entire balance of power in East Asia.